Had a beautiful session in the water today. I know some people will get bored of when I start the transmission like this, but water is one of my elements. Scorpio rising, it's one of the ways that I connect to higher consciousness at the minute. One of the ways that I can share my love with the healing of the nations and with Gaia. And it was a beautiful day. It was earlier than usual, so no one out, and also depending on the tides and the full moon and things, the seaweed can be on the beach or not, and today was just absolutely clear, and I was watching the reflections of the clouds on the sand, slightly wet as the tide had come in, and it was high tide. And gosh, I do my offerings and say what I need to say, and it was literally like gliding and glistening through silk or on velvet. She felt just absolutely blissful today, and I needed it because there's a few things whirling around me at the minute, 1:11 on the clock, and to come back to that flow, that peace, that calm, that cleansing nature that she has when she's peaceful. You can't really beat it. And as I was in the water, it's been a little while since I felt the need or been called to share my words, and I just sort of I spoke what I needed to say, and I said, if there's anything that I need to share, just let me know. And this big wave of water just went all down my mouth and swallowed, which doesn't usually happen because too much salt water is not good for you internally, but I felt that was a funny joke from the ocean that they were gifting me with words connecting to the throat chakra or cleansing for me. After 8/8, it seems like it really is a reset. I'm being challenged to level up health-wise, physically, mentally. I'm being challenged to step back and receive and be in my feminine. I'm being challenged to, and I say challenged to step back and receive because a lot of us in the modern world are used to being productive and going out and seeking and doing, and so that has been imprinted into us, and the deprogramming ever continues to come back to that state of reception as a woman, as a divine being on the realm now, as part of the bigger vision, as we all manifest peace on the world. Everybody is not everybody, many of us are trying to create ways in our lives where we're slowing down, where we are waking and rising to the day intentionally. How do I want to spend my first moments awake? How do I want to nourish the vessel? Am I making time for meditation? And meditation, I was speaking to an elder the other day about this, and he was like, no, I don't do meditation. I'm not comfortable sitting down cross-legged. And I find it's quite sad that the modern world have pushed meditation to this thing where you need to be sat cross-legged in an uncomfortable position rather than just being able to sit however we want, lay and be present and still. And also there's various versions, walking meditation or just meditative acts, mindfulness practices of working with our hands, where the thinking brain is turned off and our hands just take the lead, maybe. But yeah, so being challenged to step back and receive, being challenged to pause when there's decisions and choices to be made. We all have our feelings and nothing's ever perfect. We know what we are meant to be doing, or should, and I don't like that word, in any one moment, but then human interactions happen and emotions happen, and we may react or over respond. And I trust that as we learn to master our emotions, master ourselves better, we can respond respectfully and intentionally, even if situations are difficult and painful in the heart. And as we learn to lean into a higher guidance, a divine path, a greater power leading us. Things like the word scared or worried or concerned disappear, because that is a lower vibrational frequency. We can experience states of emotion that affect our breathing, our body, our heart, and I prefer to refer to it in this biological sense these days, because the words can program our brain if we choose to adopt other ways of expressing ourselves verbally. But rooting ourselves in love means that love is the eternal protector. So yes, we may experience increased elevation, 555 on the clock, increased elevated heart rates when things around us might not be flowing as we desire. But again, we don't always get what we want in life, we get what we need. And in any one moment, we maintain faith and trust as the language, love as the language. And some may find it more challenging now because they've created lives for themselves that are not sustainable. And having pulled myself or been pushed or knocked out of the matrix in ways and made many sacrifices, like, you know, painful letting goes of people, places and things because they just were not resonating at a soul level. And nature and that elemental connection, for me, rising to the day is very intentional. And while I'm in a space that I'm able to swim and connect with the water, she gives me that peace of mind so that I'm able to continue to step back, make choices and decisions from a place of calm. You know, we have our feelings, but I'm not in my feelings. Once we've moved through the initial moments of any interaction or situation that puts us in our feelings, and that can take time to process. That can take time to land in our vessel. You know, the heart is a big part of us, and if it's destabilized, decalibrated, or if it's feeling deeply, then we sometimes need to step back from a situation or take ourselves away from something and think. And also sometimes not thinking's good, being, and immerse ourselves in the daily flow, which I believe a lot of us are experiencing now as time is doing a whole strange load of things. Is that it's very it's very day by day, it's very little by little, it's very piano, I don't know why I'm saying this in different, it's very small steps towards the greater vision, you know, so we don't overwhelm ourselves, because the energies around us and what's changing in Gaia is monumental. And so the more that we lean back into these baby steps and we relearn, and it's about that almost with mindfulness, you know, when you're learning the 7 pillars, it's like the beginner's mind. We come back to the beginning, we come back to basics. We don't need to be masters of everything right here, right now. There'll be things that we know we can do in any one moment, and there'll be things that we're going to have to park and put to the side. But as long as our intention day by day is to move towards a vision, and that vision can be applied necessarily like everywhere. Once we've sorted our mind and body and soul, our home is our heart. We go everywhere with that. And yes, there'll be environments that we feel more 9/11, will be feel more comfortable. I don't know whether that's really ever the aim though. We feel more aligned than other places. But everything is temporary. Like, we can't be in a continuum of everything being cushy, you know, everything being chill. There's going to be knocks, but I trust that the environments that we put ourselves in, the company that we keep is oh, I've got a call. How do I what's happened there with the light? Anyway, is that things flow, we ebb and flow, and we ever learn to lean into those waves, and we learn to master our emotions and feelings rather than being in them all the time, and that being the place from where we make choices. So at the minute I'm being asked, and maybe sharing with you lot, to step back, be patient on making decisions, and trust that everything aligned is coming to us right now, to support the healing of the nations, to give us food, shelter, security in any one moment, especially if you find a situation that we might be doing things on our own, even though we've got, our community or people that we align with. We are the ones that have to move ourselves along, even if we can do that in loving partnerships and company and friendships and communities. We still need to be the ones that 10:44 on the clock, 10:44 on the clock. We still need to be able to know ourselves and what are the best decisions for ourselves moving forward, for the bigger picture, for the greater vision ahead. So I trust. Baobabs also spoke to me today. So honour nature, share with nature, bring the colour and the joy back into our lives, 11:11, however we can. Very grateful to be alive, and I trust that you are too.